They are currently the two best bowlers on the planet.
Yes, that's right.
And the most bitter of rivals.
Really?
Take that, you bottle.
You're a dead set clown, man.
Sean Rash and Jason Belmonte. Today, these two PBA Players of the Year, past and present, will slug it out in a special 3-game total pinfall match that promises to be a strike fest. It's the PBA Super Clash. Belmo versus Rash. Next. Welcome to Thunderbowl lanes in Ellen Park, Michigan. This is the PBA Super Clash. In the arena, 3 games, total pins, head-to-head, introducing the competitors. In the black and yellow corner, from Montgomery, Illinois, representing the United States of America, a 7-time PBA Tour champion with 2 majors, 2007 USBC Masters, and 2012 PBA Tournament of Champions. Former PBA Player of the Year and 2012 ESPY winner for Best Bowler, Sean Rash. In the red corner, from Orange, New South Wales, representing Australia, an 8-time PBA Tour champion with 2 majors, the 2013 USBC Masters and 2014 Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions, the 2011 ESPY winner for Best Bowler, and the reigning PBA Player of the Year, Jason Belmonte.
Recording you.
Introducing the playing field. On the left lane, Jason Belmonte has selected the 39-foot Tournament of Champions pattern. On the right lane, Sean Rash has selected the 35-foot Cheetah pattern. Welcome to the PBA Super Clash, featuring the top 2 bowlers in the world head-to-head. Hello, everyone. Mike Jakubowski, lane side. PBA Hall of Famer Randy Peterson is in the Lion's Den with our panel of experts. Randy.
Thanks very much, Mike J. Joining me, an elite panel, 3 of some of the greatest bowlers the tour's ever known, and 3 great minds for bowling. We'll start with the gentleman to my immediate left, future Hall of Famer Tommy Jones. To his left, Hall of Famer Jason Couch. And sitting next to Jason Couch, future Hall of Famer Chris Barnes. Guys, thanks for joining us. Tommy, I'm going to start with you. How about a prediction?
Well, Randy, what we have here is a good old-fashioned grudge match. These 2 bowlers do not like each other, and for the last 2 or 3 years, they've been at the top of our sport. But the 2 patterns are going to play a little different, and the one pattern is going to be a little tricky for Belmo on the short pattern, and my vote goes to Sean.
Jason?
Well, Randy, without a doubt, these guys don't like each other. And my prediction for today, folks, that Sean Rash will dismantle Jason Belmonte by the end of the game.
All right, Jason, thanks for not sugarcoating it. Chris Barnes, your prediction?
Well, I think Sean also is going to have great ball reaction, but like you said, they don't like each other, and I think Sean really wants to beat Belmonte. I think he's going to get in his way in game 2. Jason's going to find a way to throw enough strikes on that shorter pattern. I think it's going to be about 692, 677 Belmonte.
All right, nice prediction. So Jason Couch, Tommy Jones going with Sean Rash, Chris Barnes going with Jason Belmonte. I guess that means I have to choose someone. So I'm going to go with Jason Belmonte. He's got all the momentum in his corner. So it's a split decision up here. Let's go down to Kimberly with an interview with our competitors.
Thanks, guys. So Jason, Sean, up there on that panel up there, they're split down the middle on who's going to win. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask you, Jason, why do you think you're going to beat Sean?
Look, I feel like I've got a lot of momentum behind me right now. I'm the current Player of the Year. I just won the TOC. I'm comfortable on this pair of lanes. And I feel like I got a good reaction on the cheetah pattern, which normally I don't. So I'm quite confident.
Sean, I'm going to ask you the same thing. Why do you think you're going to beat Jason?
Well, Jason and I have proven to each other in the world that we're two of the best right now, but right now it's me and the pins. He's just another competitor. I don't even know if he's here right now, so I'm here to play, and may the best man win.
Good luck to you both.
And now, shoe up, set 'em up. It's a PBA Super Clash.
Sean Rash is going to start the match on the left lane. Guys, again, we're going to get into the oil pattern here in a bit, but obviously there was some decision-making between these two players as to what pattern they wanted to bowl on.
Yeah, and I really think Sean might have made a mistake by not picking an even shorter 32-foot wolf pattern, which would really spread out the difference of how much better Sean is with his end-over-end roll versus Belmonte in the two-handed style. That rev rate over-amplifies everything on the short.
And not the start Sean Rash is looking for right out of the gates. 4-6 to start. Whoa! And so, guys, I guess the common theme, and Jason, I'll put this to you. I guess the shorter the pattern, the more Jason Belmonte struggles. Why is that?
Well, there's two reasons for that, Randy. It's axis tilt and axis rotation. His ball comes off the dry so strong that he has a difficulty with the shorter patterns. We all know that with shorter patterns, you tend to play more to the outside.
Belmo's sporting the white Google glass so we can see what he sees. Pretty cool.
Really good shot by Jason Belmonte there, but I really think that the key to the match is going to be whichever one can get the opposite lane.
All right, now it's time for Track Tech Talk, guys. We're going to talk oil pattern. In the right lane, Sean Rash chooses a 35-foot cheetah. Left lane, Belmo chooses the Tournament of Champions at 39 feet. No big surprise why Belmo chose the Tournament of Champions pattern, and I think it's made pretty clear thus far why Sean Rash chose the shorter pattern. But early on, Jason's reaction on the right lane, the cheetah, looked pretty good.
Well, Randy, like you said a few weeks ago, there's a couple of versions of the cheetah pattern. There's the Norm Duke cheetah pattern, and there's the Wes Malott cheetah pattern.
What do you mean by that?
Well, this one is a version, it's the Wes Malott version, where you can throw it a little left to right, and it comes off the gutter, which certainly plays into the advantage of Belmonte. You can play a little deeper on the lane and get away with a shot a little in.
Like that one.
Remember, folks, this is a 3-game total pin match. Each game worth a couple $1,000, and the winner's going to receive 10 grand. But you guys talked about it at the top of the show. It's way more on the line than just cash. Jason?
There's no doubt. These guys haven't liked each other for a few years now, and there's been some animosity anytime they're around each other, and I think they're going to settle it today.
What's more important than the cash or the prestige of beating the other guy?
There's no doubt in my mind that these guys want to drill each other.
All right, well, bad break there in the third. Sean Rash leaving the mixing 4-pin. Was that a ball change, guys, or was that the same ball he started with on that left lane?
It was the same ball that he started with. I just think he just a little slow out of the gate.
Using two different balls?
Our statistician Mike Edwards tells us it was actually a ball change. I think it's the same ball. He threw the same brand ball or name ball, but it was a different drilling than the last one. 2 bad breaks. There goes high, pays the price. Makes a pretty good shot on the next one. That light shaker 4. 9 times out of 10, that one carries.
Jason doesn't look like he's having much problem on the short pattern today.
Well, here's Jason Belmonte last week at the Tournament of Champions. We talk about momentum. Here's Belmo winning his second major. Wes Malott had a chance. He needed the first strike in the 10th frame. Threw a bad shot, came up light. Belmonte wins sitting on the bench. A dejected Wes Malott and a real happy Jason Belmonte.
Thank you so much, Barbasol.
We talked about momentum coming into this grudge match, this PBA Super Clash. And thus far, Jason Belmonte's perfect in terms of hitting the pocket and having no trouble on the shorter pattern.
I think really the bigger concern is on that right lane on the shorter pattern is that he's got it to the gutter about second board, and the last one only got to about 6, and they both went to the same spot.
So that bodes well for Jason Belmonte, no?
Sure.
Jason's using urethane on that right lane, so we'll see how the transition is on that right lane, where Sean may end up having to go farther around it.
Quick.
Are you sure he's using urethane?
Pretty sure that was a natural on the right lane.
That looked awful shiny to me. to be a urethane ball.
And a lot of reaction. There's Del Ballard Jr., Hall of Famer, sitting next to Jason Belmonte, his manager, and Chuck Gardner for Sean Rash's corner. Nice shot there. But guys, we talk about the rivalry between these two guys. Is it more of a, hey, this guy's on top of the mountain, I want to knock him off because I want to prove I'm the best player in the world? As we take a look at their stats, remember Sean Rash was last year's reigning player of the year. Now it's Jason Belmonte. Is it about, hey, I want to prove that I'm better than you are? Is it a personal thing?
This one's personal. I mean, I've traveled around the world bowling many tournaments with these two gentlemen, and it's no secret. They don't sugarcoat or anything. They don't like each other, and they just want to beat each other.
So what's the mindset, Chris Barnes, coming into this match if you were one or the other?
Well, I think the focus will be, Jason's done a very good job of managing this when they bowled each other. Sean, however, has focused sometimes way too much on beating Jason, not nearly enough of just out-bowling him.
That's a great point. Jason Belmonte up by 20. Sean Rash finally catches his first double. So take a look at Belmonte, sticking at the foul line, doesn't matter, wearing the Google Glass.
That's an IQ tour is what that is.
IQ tour. He's wearing a Google Glass, guys. What do you know about this?
Talking to Belmo this week, it was something that he wanted to do for his fans, to be able to kind of let them interact and show a little bit of what's going on, what he sees, and be able to let them, he can record some stuff and put it on the internet and let them read about it, hear about it, and just gives the fans a different perspective of our sport.
It's pretty cool. We saw a little bit of that at last week's Tournament of Champions.
I crossed with him a lot there, and it seemed like he'd get bored because he was leading by so much, and he would wear them just intermittently to, oh yes, keep himself interested.
All right, it's a 30-pin lead for Jason Belmonte halfway through the first game. When we come back, this match will continue, and we'll get more expert analysis from our expert panel. Stay with us.
The PBA Super Clash is brought to you by GEICO, saving people money on more than just car insurance. Barbasol, close shave America, close shave Barbasol. By HotelPlanner.com, the best place to book hotel rooms, best rate, guaranteed. And by DV8, we are DV8. Tonight we bowl. The PBA Super Clash rolls on at Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. Jason Belmonte with a 30-pin lead here in Game 1 of 3. Now let's take a look at the BioBlast and meet Jason Belmonte, 30 years of age, 6 years of pro, 8 PBA Tour titles, including 2 majors. Most recently, the Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions, the reigning PBA Player of the Year. We roll on with match 1. Total Pins, your winner. Back to Randy Peterson in the Lion's Den.
And thanks, Mike J. Randy Peterson along with Tommy Jones, Jason Couch, Chris Barnes. Talk about a bowl full of experts. It just doesn't get any better than this. Jason Couch, the only 3-time Tournament of Champions winner. Chris Barnes won a 6 to win the Triple Crown. And TJ, there's only a couple of guys that won Player of the Year and Rookie of the Year honors. You're one of them.
Yeah, Chris did too, but I'd also like to point out I didn't bowl any of those Tournament of Champions that Jason did, so those are still to be debate that he won all 3 of them.
All right, the first dig has been applied, coming from Tommy Jones and applying to Jason Couch. Sean Rash steps up here on the left lane, which features the Tournament of Champions oil pattern chosen by Belmonte. With another strike, he can cut Belmo's lead by 10. It's a 10-pin match.
It's a 10-pin match. He's going to have some trouble, though, here in Game 2. Jason's left of him. He's going to start drying out that spot. Like we saw last week in the Tournament of Champions, McClellan had a good look early. Game 2, Game 3, not so much. He's going to have to make a big jump here in the middle of Game 2 to stay ahead of the move.
Jason, do you think that's something that's going through Sean Rash's mind? Do you think he's aware of the fact that, hey, I'm going pretty straight right now, but I got to make sure that I watch for the oil breaking down, and when I move, I've got to move big? Like, Mother May I big jump to the left? Is that something in his mind?
I don't think it's in his mind right now, but he's keeping an eye on watching that blue oil, which is a huge advantage these days to know and watch that oil come up off the lane. I think Chris is a little wrong in that department because I think Sean is great at making the adjustments, and I think you're going to start to see Belmo start to struggle with his pin carry a little bit.
And Sean Rash is more than capable of moving in and opening up the lane.
Sean does a really good job of keeping up with transition. It's one of the reasons why he bowled so good the last couple of years, especially at South Point when we bowled the World Series of Bowling there. He stays ahead of it, and we'll see what happens because now he's on the other side of it.
Belmo wearing the Google glass, which gives us a great look through his eyes in game 1.
Well, that ring 10 changed things all around. Now we have a 9-pin match. Pretty good shot there by Jason to get it out to 2. He's got control of the wet dry on that short pattern. He's not struggling on it as nearly as much as we thought he would.
Nice shot there.
I didn't expect to throw it that good out of the break on the right lane.
I agree.
Yeah.
Count that strike. Got to count that strike.
Yeah. I mean,
Got to have that miss.
Chance to take the lead here.
Sure good. He likes it.
So where did all this bad blood begin? Let's go back to the summer of 2011 in the GEICO PBA team shootout. There, Sean Rash was interrupted in his approach by what he felt was an intentional crackling of a plastic water bottle by Belmonte.
Really?
And after he finally made the shot, Rash exploded.
Take that, you bottle! Come on!
I think it actually started a little bit before this, but this was definitely one of the major breaking points. These two, you know, just two guys that are great bowlers, great competitors as they compete against each other.
So you're saying that wasn't necessarily the genesis, but that was like throwing a little bit more fuel on the fire, TJ?
Definitely. I think that, you know, that was kind of the last straw where the two just kind of really realized that there's no turning back at this point. You know, they've competed against each other around the world, and they bowled against each other for titles and lots of money and everything, and it's hard to like that person.
And don't look now, but look who has the lead by 11. Sean Rash. Remember, it's 3-game total pinfall.
That was 10 in the pit, boys. That's not my horse in today's race. That was 10 in the pit.
I mean, there was almost like some kind of vortex that pulled all 10 back into that pit. That ball went through the pin so hard. And guys, you know, we talked about this at the Tournament of Champions last week. It just seems to me that with his power, it's the strongest strike ball on tour. And when he's firing on all cylinders, and he's making shots, and he's posting at the foul line, this guy's unbeatable.
There's nothing that you're going to get me to disagree with you there. When he gets to throw it hard, it's almost game over for us when they hook, and he can throw it hard.
Like any other sport, the guy with the most power that's accurate as well is going to win.
Right.
I mean, given if he and I are both the same amount of accuracy, he's obviously got a huge advantage rev rate-wise. He's going to carry more shots than I am.
Are you saying that he's a better shot maker than you, Mr. Barnes?
It's not for me to decide that, but if you say it again, I'm going to have an issue.
All right, guys, max score 259 Sean Rash, 258 Jason Belmonte. Remember, 3-game total pinfall, but a couple of grand a game on the line.
That was a really good shot. You see Jason still posting the shot at the foul line.
And after talking with Jason, he said it's one of the things he works the hardest on. But when he's able to post up shots at the foul line on a consistent basis, in my opinion, he's unbeatable out here.
It's the genesis of both these two guys. 3 years ago, they were both just really talented, high-rev guys, but they rarely posted up shots. Jason maybe a little more than Sean did, but he fell off a lot of them, got way too far forward. He posts up nearly every shot now. Sean's percentage has more than tripled, and it's no small coincidence that these two have gone from very talented players to the top players.
And by posting up, you mean staying balanced and not moving once the ball leaves your hand at the foul line, just like that.
Get it! Get it! Yes! Woo! Get those
You know, we talked about good mojo and having that momentum going, and Jason Belmonte carrying a little bit over from the Tournament of Champions. Watch this. How many times do you trip a 4-pin that way? I can't ask Jason that question because he's left-handed, but Chris, I know you've tripped a few of these in your career. Tommy, you as well.
We'll see what Sean's got here because, you know, like I said, it's personal. Sometimes it's hard to get up and throw these 3 shots and see what that does to his demeanor that he just had an unfortunate break and leaving a ring 10.
Actually got that one a little further right. It should have carried a little bit better, but it ended up getting about 2 feet, 3 feet further in the lane before it made the move. Got that 3-pin around the 10, or 6-pin around the 10.
So you agree that the reason why the 10-pin, the ringing 10 was left is because the ball kind of finished behind the head pin, went a little too far down the lane before it started making its move?
Without question. You can see it, especially from our vantage point here, that ball just got a little behind the head pin. What Chris meant is getting it to the right. It sees the friction earlier. We thought it would get back and get high flush.
So with a strike here, Jason Belmonte will take a 20-pin lead going into game number 2.
Ball change for Rash.
I think that was just a feeler shot, just trying to see what he's got in case he has to get out of that ball if that ball starts to go a little too long.
All right, game number 1 in the books. When we come back, we'll break down the action from game 1, and we'll hear from 2 of the greatest players of all time, Walter Ray Williams Jr. and PDW, Pete Weber. Stay with us.
PBA Super Clash at Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. The results of Game 1. Belmonte pockets a couple of grand with the 258, 238 win, and plus 20 overall in total pins. The Barbasol close shave of the day on the 12th ball. In the 10th frame, roll of 4 from coast to coast. That is a Barbasol close shave for 258 for Jason Belmonte. Kimberly Pressler stands by with bookend Hall of Famers. Kimberly.
Thanks, Mike. I'm here with Walter Ray Williams and Pete Weber. Now, they have one of the best rivalries in the PBA history. Now, Walter, you've bested Pete on TV for titles every time except one time. Is there a memory that you have that you said, this is the day that I'm going to beat Pete and I have to win it?
Well, fortunately, I had a bunch of good ones. Probably the 2 stand out was the last TV show we had on ABC TV. Sure. That was a big one. And then probably the other most memorable one was when I had the front 10 strikes against him at the Japan Cup in 2006.
And Pete, this has lasted over decades between you two. You guys play in the PBA 50 now. Is the rivalry still there, or has it gone away over the years?
Oh, well, absolutely. You know, when you bowl Walter, the #1 bowler in the world, you know, you just want to beat him. There's something about it, you want to beat him, you know. And, yeah, he got the best of me on the PBA tour. But now that we've got to the senior tours, I'm 2-0 against him. So, you know, it's still up for grabs. But, yeah, I still won't beat your you-know-what, Walter.
Now, let's talk about this rivalry here. Who do you think's going to win?
Well, seeing as how I got the storm patch on, I guess I have to root for Belmo there.
And who do you think is going to win?
I got Sean Rash all the way.
Oh, there you have it. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks, Kimberly. Back with me once again, major championship winner Tommy Jones, major championship winner Jason Couch, major championship winner Chris Barnes. Chris, let's talk about what you saw in that opening game.
Well, I think the biggest surprise was how good Jason's reaction was on the short pattern on the right lane. Sean got off to a little rough start on the left lane. After that, he bowled a great game, won ring 10, and this whole thing is basically tied after 1 based upon Sean winning the first game. This is going to be the key game, I think, especially on the left lane. I think there's going to be more transition. Who makes the big... Sean is going to have to make a big move to stay ahead of it. If he does that, it's going to be a good game for him.
Jason, what do you look for in this second game?
Well, listen, guys, I'm pretty sure I don't think Chris Barnes knows what he's talking about at all. But I can tell you this, that my horse in the race is Sean Rash. You don't get paid from the first turn. It's the home stretch, baby. The third game is when this man will take control.
And that's when your horse is going to make the push.
That's it.
Okay, Tommy Jones?
Well, over the last 8 frames there, Sean made up a little bit of ground. He didn't get off to a great start. He got a little bit of an unfortunate break in the first frame and then again in the third. But he made a good ball change, and I think Sean can run back right here.
So you're going to stick with your predictions, the pick that we started with? Tommy, you still good with Sean?
I'm staying with Sean. I really
Even though he's trailing by 20.
He's down 20, but, like Jay said, front runners don't always win. Some of us like to come from behind.
Jason, you like the horse that has the extra kick at the end at whatever furlough? I don't go to the track, but obviously you do. So you like your horse. You're staying with him.
I'm telling you what, we're going to hit him with the whip around that third turn, and now home stretch, he's going to start throwing some strikes.
Okay, hopefully your horse doesn't break a leg in the home stretch. Chris Barnes, you're staying with Jason Belmonte.
I think it's still the same. I think the score's going to come down this game overall.
Why is that?
Just the transition is going to start to hit. There'll be a few 4-pin, 10-pin, maybe even a 2-10 in there somewhere. They'll bring the scores down, but overall, yeah, the favorite's still the favorite.
Okay, I'm going to stay with Jason Belmonte as well. I like favorites, and he's right now winning this 3-game total pin match by 20 pins. When we come back, we will also revisit one of the greatest rivalries of all time, that and Game 2, when we come back. And welcome back to the PBA Super Clash here at Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. Sean Rash versus Jason Belmonte. Hey guys, talking about rivalries, let's take a look at our Ebonite flashback. This was a pretty good rivalry. Marshall Holman versus Mark Roth, and it was back in their heyday, 1978, 1979 in Grand Prairie, Texas. Mark Roth, the winner in 78. Holman gets his revenge and wins in 79.
You know, these are two guys that I grew up watching the most, and who I wanted to be like. These two were the best. They were fiery on the lanes, and it was just two people that I idolized.
You know, to go with that, Randy, they were great bowlers against each other, but they were great partners as well.
Yeah, they were great friends off the lanes. They formed one of the most formidable doubles teams in the history of the PBA. There's Marshall Holman just kicking that 4-7-10 out to win in 79.
And as opposed to these two, the guys we got today, they're not going to be bowling doubles anytime soon.
And what an honor to have PBA Hall of Famer Mark Roth joining us. There's a standing ovation for one of the greatest of all times. Mark Roth, tremendous off the lanes, just a great guy. Off the lanes, on the lanes, you didn't want to mess with him.
You want to know piece of
just leave him alone. And if you slapped it off in his face, that was probably one of the worst things you could do. All right, we start Game 2. Jason Belmonte with a 20-pin lead. Now let's take a look at our oil pattern. Now the lane on the left side of your screen is cheetah before practice. On the right side of your screen, after Game 1, you can see how the oil is starting to lighten up just inside the second arrow. That's where all the traffic has been, and the lighter that area gets, the more friction is going to be created in that zone on the lane.
You're seeing a little bit of it right there. You can see in around between 5 and 10, you can see it start to break down a little bit. And that could affect what Belmonte's doing a little bit more, because he's using a higher response bowling ball as that breaks down, where Sean is blending it out much more with a slower response ball that as it hits the dry it responds slower, as it hits the oil it responds slower, much like a snow tire.
Saw that graphic of the way these two have finished on Cheetah over the last 5 events. So, you know, no wonder. I thought Chris brought up a great point in that Sean Rash could have chose the Wolf, which is the shortest of the patterns. I think Jason Belmonte struggled in that oil pattern much more so than the 35-foot Cheetah pattern.
Yeah, without question, I think you should have chose that pattern as well. But, you know, this match is far from over, so there can be a lot of things that happen on this shorter pattern.
It looked like Belmo moved a little farther left in the first frame on the left lane, so we'll see what happens on the right lane.
Now, who was it that mentioned the players might struggle a little bit in Game 2 with carry because of transition and whatnot? You know, thus far I know it's early, but hey, nothing but strikes in the first 2 frames, Chris Barnes. I'm putting it on you.
Yeah, absolutely. But the transition obviously hasn't happened yet. We'll see what happens here. The next couple shots will tell everything.
I'm looking for it. And obviously, guys, most players using 2 different bowling balls on each lane because of the difference in the lengths of the pattern. The shorter Cheetah pattern is obviously going to be a lot more aggressive in terms of reaction, a lot more friction on that shorter pattern than, say, the longer pattern. So it's not a question of, hey, throwing the same ball in 2 lanes and just you know, having your feet and your target in a different spot. You got to use different equipment.
Well, you're looking at me again like I'm wrong. They're not going to struggle on this short batter. Sean especially is not going to struggle on the short batters. He's dialed in. He might leave a 10-pin here and there, but that's about all he's going to leave. If somebody's going to struggle with it, it'll be Belmonte on the short pattern. And I think the transition on the longer pattern is where Sean could get caught.
And Tommy, you brought up a great point that Jason Belmonte had the choice of starting lane, and he chose to finish on the longer pattern 2 out of the 3 games.
Correct. You know, there was a coin toss to see who would basically have deciding who would be the higher seed or whatever. And Belmonte won the coin toss, and he's elected to finish on the TSC pattern twice in 2 of the 3 matches.
And folks, for you at home, that yellow number that says -10 now, that's a running total from game 1. Sean Rash just bringing it to the party here in game 2. Each game worth a couple $1,000. Total 3-game total pin match with the winner receiving another 10 grand. Not to mention bragging rights. 2 of the PBA's top players, would you say? 2 of the best in the world?
Without question.
You know, one of the things that I brought up in the TSC, Chris, is that this guy, not only does he bring all the power to the party, but his carry percentage is unlike any other players on tour. Would you agree with that?
Well, it seems like anytime guys get on a great roll, their carry gets better too.
So it has nothing to do. So his carry's not good because he's got the strongest bowling ball on tour?
I think he has the biggest pocket because of that power, for sure. But you have to get it there. If you're not hitting the pocket every shot, nobody notices the fact that you're carrying a little bit more.
I don't know who said that wasn't me, but there's a child crying, and Jason Belmonte unfazed.
Yeah, Belmonte has taken this this grudge match thing, kind of taken it in stride and just kind of dealt with it, where it seems to be a little more personal for Sean than it does for Jason.
In stride, Jason Couch, or is he just that focused and wants to win that badly that nothing bothers this guy? No, you can't get in this guy's head.
I think he's in his own little world right now, and he better stick with that because my horse is getting into that run.
Uh-oh. Yep, here comes the horse. You got the whip out?
I do.
The thing about bowling, though, it's not an action-reaction sport. So if you get too revved up, both of these guys' miss is the same. They throw it hard, they throw it by the spot. Jason's managing his motions very well. He knows that if he gets revved up, he'll go by the headpin, so he's keeping himself out of that mix.
And wouldn't you agree that over the last couple of years, Jason Belmonte's been better at that than Sean Rash has on television in big moments?
Yeah, definitely. Managing emotions is a huge part of television. Being able to slow your brain down enough is hard to do.
It's a 10-pin match halfway through game 2. Our players haven't missed yet. Will we have perfection in game 2? The completion when we come back.
The PBA Super Clash is brought to you by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. By GEICO, saving people money on more than just car insurance. By Track Bowling, make the smart move. And by Barbasol. Close shave, America. Close shave, Barbasol.
Welcome back to the PBA Super Clash. Mike Jakubowski, lane side. All strikes in game 2. Time to meet Sean Rash with this Bioblast. Sean Rash, 31 years old. 9 years a pro. 7 PBA Tour titles. 2 PBA Major titles. And the 2011-12 Chris Schenkel PBA Player of the Year. Game 2 pins on the line. Total pins match on the line. All strikes. This crowd is rocking.
Stay tuned after the Super Clash for the CP3 PBA Remix. A look back at 5 years of NBA star Chris Paul's celebrity bowling event. That's coming up next following today's Super Clash.
Back to Randy in the Lions Den.
All right, Tommy Jones, Jason Couch, Chris Barnes, and myself. Guys, I'm going to put this out there for you. Let me know what you think. Is this Super Clash good for our sport? You take two of the best bowlers in the world, put them together in this format. Is this good for bowling?
I think it's good for bowling. Let's get it all out in the open and let's see what happens in this environment. Because I'm tired of these guys going back and forth, but not doing it in front of each other. Because they always complain behind the other guy's backs. Let's get it out there. Let's get it on.
Tommy?
Yeah, I think it's something that's going to help settle the score. And maybe after this, you know, one at least have a reason to why he's correct in their thought process. And the other won't really have to say anything. They beat him heads up on a pattern that each of them chose.
Okay, but Chris Barnes, good for them. Is it good for the rest of the bowling world? Is it good for our sport in general?
No, I don't necessarily think so. I think people want to see a lot of different players. These guys are on TV all the time. We already get to see them bowl all the time. I think guys would like to see someone else to have a chance to come up through.
Great point. Hey, guess what, guys? Nobody's missed in this game.
Hey, like I said, the scores are going to come down. They're going to go. Nobody's going to miss this game at all.
That's not what you said.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Sounds like what he tells me when we bowl doubles. He tells me to move and not 210.
Somebody's got to be the whipping post. Jason Couch, highest match ever on television.
Highest match would have to be Mike Albee and David Ozio, 300-279. Or would it be
Tommy?
Peoria?
Actually, he is correct. I was actually going to say Brian Goebel, Norm Duke, 296, 280, but he's correct. It was David Ozio, 1.
Nice play, Jay.
Fountain of knowledge right here.
Yes, you are.
Smart person.
Jay did. Jay spent a lot of time watching Albee shows. So
Jason Couch, 3-time Tournament of Champions, one of the only player to win the Tournament of Champions back-to-back years. Oh, there's the baby again.
It's probably my kid. It's all right.
Sorry, it's a good reset. It's something that he wouldn't have handled so well, you know,
agreed,
10 shows ago. And that's part of the experience and part of dealing with that.
Both players front 7.
Oh, God.
There you go.
There was the one where he just comes up and out of it a little bit, where if he stays on balance, he actually keeps his hand underneath it, and he probably gets that one back to half pocket and strikes.
Is that because he gets too pumped up, he gets too aggressive in that situation, just overthrows?
No, I actually think a lot of times his feet actually get slow.
They get slow.
His upper body gets in front. He's gotten it so fast before. It's a combination of getting in your swing early versus getting your feet back behind it. In that case, he was trying to stay slow. He actually got up in front. Once your head gets in front of your knee, not much good happens in any sport.
That's the first time Chris Barnes has been right all day. But I can tell you this, that Chris is actually very accurate in that if you see that replay, Sean actually comes up and out of it. He even does it on the spare shot as well.
Yeah, it's a problem that a lot of guys with higher rev rates have because we're trying to catch so much of it.
And that was your hammer tough spare replay. And he actually made that 2-8 look a little on the tough side. Belmonte, see if he can make it 8 in a row. Whoa, a little fast?
He almost did that last time. When he moved left, he moved into a lot more oil. His break point started moving down the lane. We're starting to get a little bit of carry down. He doesn't get it to the right quick now. He's going to do this.
But guys, they went front 7, made it look easy. They couldn't miss flush, and now all of a sudden, I mean, both players almost left 2-8-10 combinations.
Yeah, well, I think the adrenaline got going there for Belmo as well because he knew he could step on Rash right there if he kept striking.
And you are seeing two bowlers that are bowling very well right now, so there's a lot of good shots in that stretch of both starting with the front 7.
Let's talk two-handed style versus one-handed. Tommy, your take? Do you I mean, are you on board with the two-handed style? Are you okay with it?
You know, I have mixed emotions about it. It's to me, whenever it seems like it's kind of cheating sometimes because I grew up old school. But at the same time, you know, it's not that easy to do. A lot of people are trying it, but you have to be very flexible and start doing it at a very young age.
Goes light on the right lane, goes high on the longer pattern left lane. Jason Couch, your take on two-handed bowling?
I think it's a travesty that it's in this sport. I'm old school. If you couldn't do it with one hand, you didn't try and do it with two. You just tried to make yourself better. This is the way this kid grew up. This is the way he learned how to bowl. So I don't fault him for that. I just don't agree with it.
Chris Barnes?
I don't really have a problem with it. I've tried it enough to know how hard it is. And although you do have a much higher rev rate, it's much more difficult to hit your target.
I threw that one pretty good.
You know, and you get the argument on the other side, which is, well, you should be required to put your thumb in the ball. Well, that's fine, but if you drill the thumb hole an 1.5 inch size hole, all you do now is just put your thumb in that. You're not using it. It's the same kind of technique.
Chance for Rash to take this game.
It's a big shot for Rash coming up here, because not only can he win a game and pick up some extra money here, but also he can let Belmonte know that he's not going anywhere.
Right. Well, and he right now he's in the driver's seat because he can strike out and win this game. But remember, he's still down by 18 pins because he lost the first game by 20, 258, 238.
It's a great point. Strike 9 spare wins the game in a couple $1,000s. But he needs all three here to try and get back to even on this in the totals.
Belmonte can still shoot 266.
Strike 9 spare puts Sean Rash at 267. Boy, you heard him say go, and that's an indication of a ball that's inside of target.
Yeah, he looked like he just helped that one just a fraction after the last one that got a little behind it. And that one he just wanted to make sure he caught. He just caught it a little bit early.
So now we're at a point where Sean Rash could have cut into the deficit. Instead, Belmonte has a chance to increase his lead.
I don't know about you guys, but I've noticed that Belmonte's got about 4 breaks in these 2 games so far. I have not seen one for Mr. Rash yet. So that means he's got a bunch coming the last game.
That's when you get the whip out.
That's the whip.
And it's an excellent point. He had a few last week, the Tournament Champions, too. So I do believe everything evens out over time. He better make some pretty good shots coming down the stretch here.
However, that's one of the reasons why I picked him. The good mojo, the momentum.
Yeah. Me too. He's going on house money after winning the Tournament Champions last week.
Solid 9 again.
All right, Jason Belmonte can get up, strike out, and shoot 266. Add another 8 pins to his already 20-pin lead from game 1. You don't want to let him get too far ahead because of all the amount of strikes that are being thrown. It might be tough to overcome a deficit of more than 30 pins. Big mistake.
That was a terrible, terrible shot. Terrible.
And this is exactly why you want to overshell on this pattern or stay as close to the dry as possible, because there's no reason to ever go light on a short pattern.
This is what you were talking about. It just happened a little bit later than you anticipated.
I told you, in the 6th frame it was coming. He got it in and did it, and these next 2 shots both went to the same spot.
Jason.
Jason Belmonte loses game 2. A couple $1,000 goes to Sean Rash. When we come back, it's game 3. Jason Belmonte takes a 3-pin advantage going into the 3rd and final game. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the PBA Super Clash. Sean Rash takes game 2, 258-241, a game apiece, and Belmonte leads by 3 pins in total pinfall. Game 3 yet to come, and Kimberly Pressler is standing by with our combatants. Kimberly.
Jason, what happened to your ball reaction in that last match?
Ball reaction was fine. It was just bad shots, Kimberly. I mean, that one in the 10th, I didn't get it to the spot that I wanted to get it to, but you know, you can only run on your luck for so long. I got a little lucky a little bit earlier on. It's time to step up, throw some quality shots, and put him under a little bit more pressure.
What do you need to do to win this?
Well, mathematics says I just need to beat him by a pin, so I intend to do that.
All right. Now, Sean, can you feel the momentum going into your favor at this point?
Well, yes and no. I mean, we're both bowling extremely well. We knew the scores were going to be high. This is what our sport wanted. We wanted some positive bowling, some great bowling. You've got 2 of the greatest right now going at it, and I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Okay. Back to you guys.
All right. Thanks, Kimberly. Back with me, my panel of experts. Barnes, Couch, Jones. This is about as close as it's going to get. I mean, it's a 3-pin differential. These guys are averaging just under 250. Tommy, is this playing out the way you thought it would?
A little bit. I definitely thought that they would have more transition on the right lane, the longer of the patterns and the shorter pattern. And it seemed like Belmo lost a little bit of the right lane, so now we're going to see what happens. They're going to have to make some adjustments, and I think he's going to keep striking or Sean's going to run him down.
So you thought more transition on the left lane, the longer pattern, yet it looked like Belmonte completely lost the right lane.
Correct. I really thought that the left lane was going to start to go in the front. This surface over here has a little more friction built into it than some of the other surfaces we bowled on, and when that happens, you have to chase it faster. Didn't seem like they were chasing it that fast, and I thought it would catch one of them, and Belmo broke up a split in the ninth, but Sean's, left a 9-pin, so we'll see what happens, and it can go anywhere from here.
All right, Jason, what do you see going on out there?
I see Jason Belmonte running out of luck. I think he threw a couple of errant shots there late when he really could have took advantage of it and put some distance between him and Sean. He's been getting breaks the whole match. My horse is turning the third corner, baby. He's going to run him down this game.
Is Jason Belmonte going to be able to figure out what to do on the right lane?
If he gets out there and he happens to pitch one right early and it overhooks off the dry, he's done.
Wow. Chris Barnes?
Well, I think Jason's right about one thing. I think at some point it's only natural.
Wait a minute, you think he's right about something?
Yeah, mark it down. He's going to throw one right quick at one point, and it's probably going to overhook. If that shot doesn't overhook and he doesn't split on it, Sean's going to be in trouble. But like the best quarterback in the game that's getting ready to play this afternoon, I think Sean is going to put together a fourth quarter rally here. I'm not sure Jason can hold him off.
Guys, who does this mean more to win this competition, Sean Rash or Jason Belmonte?
I feel like it means more to Sean. Sean's one that wears his emotions on his sleeve a lot more than Jason does. Jason kind of takes it in stride and has been bowling great, and he's got all the accolades. He's our player of the year from last year. He won the Tournament of Champions last week. I think right now it's all about Sean and trying to prove to himself that he can actually beat Jason Belmonte when it matters.
I think there's a lot of great points there. I think it appears for sure that it's more important to Sean. I think it means way more to Jason than it first looks like.
Jason?
I think it's even for both players. I just think they have two different personalities, and they both want it more than anything right now.
All right, so let's talk about adjustments. Who has to make more adjustments in this final game? Sean Rash, Jason Belmonte. Chris?
I think Jason has the more critical ones because of his ball choice on that right lane. Small moves will make big differences on that shorter pattern. Sean's going to have to move on the left lane, get away from that spot where he went light and then went a little high, but I think it's an easier move for him to make. I think he's very good at it already.
Jason?
I think they're both in the same spot. I think if they both make good adjustments, it'll be high scoring again, but if one of them misses it early, they could get far behind really quick.
Tommy?
As much as it pains me to say, I agree with Chris. The right, having a high rev rate, the right lane, when it starts to go, the worst thing you want to do is see when you get one in on a shorter pattern, then it kind of flutters, because then you know that you have to get one to the friction, and you see it all the time where it goes high, and when it goes high, you can big four. I've made the 210 a heck of a lot more times than I've made the big four in my life.
Well, guys, it only took us 2 games to finally start to agree with one another. When we come back, the third and final game of the 2014 PBA Super Clash. These players are used to jawing at one another. Looks like they've been doing a lot of talking to the pins. Game 3 coming up. Welcome back, everybody, to the PBA Super Clash. Sean Rash versus Jason Belmonte here at Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan, just outside of Detroit. Let's take a look at the GEICO Championship recap. Game 1, Jason Belmonte. Well, he had the good mojo working. He rolls the 4-pin. He shoots 258. Sean Rash gets up in the 10th frame, has a chance to tie. It's a ring 10. Jason Belmonte takes a 20-pin lead going into game 2. Now both players start off red hot, each starting with 7 straight strikes. Then all of a sudden, a little trouble. Not so much for Sean Rash as he doesn't roll the 9-pin, but Jason Belmonte here in the 10th frame could have increased his lead. Instead, it was a 2-4-10 split and an open frame, and that's what takes us now to only a 3-pin match. Remember, it's a 3-game total pin match. Jason Belmonte, his lead now reduced to just 3 pins over Sean Rash. Here we are starting game 3, the final game of this Super Clash, or as my panel of experts like to call it, the grudge match. And it's a good one. This is shaped up to be a pretty good grudge match. Players haven't jawed at each other throughout the first 2 games. Do you expect it happening in this game?
I would think so. I think if one guy gets it going and he feels like He's in control. You may start to see some of that, and that would probably make for grudge match 2 next year.
I mean, as much as you guys alluded to how much it would mean to Sean Rash, do you see this guy really giving it to Jason Belmonte if he gets up in the 10th frame needing a strike to win and gets it?
I think what we'll see more is somebody will raise the intensity of the match. They'll pump it up. They'll run it out. It won't be direct jawing, but it'll be loud.
And there was a ball change, Tommy, on the right lane for Belmonte. And remember the last shot that he threw on that lane in Game 2, 2-4-10. Here's the ball change. The pins didn't cooperate with this shot, though. You can see it farther right than that shot where he left the 2-4-10. Still loses 7 pin.
Yeah, it looks like he switched balls to a stronger ball and moved farther left, which is the right move for a higher rev rate on this pattern, to move farther left and up shell to be able to get it to blend it off.
Yeah, for sure. The more core there, I think, will allow him to get it to the right. That one didn't seem to have nearly as much trouble picking up. However, it's going to have to go through the pins a little better than that. It's still further down the lane than Sean's is, and Sean's is the ideal reaction on that short pattern.
All right, good shot there. Hey, let's send it down to Kimberly Pressler for a Columbia 300 fun fact.
Thanks, Randy. The distance between the two cities where Sean Rash and Jason Belmonte were raised, Anchorage, Alaska, and Orange, New South Wales, Australia, is 7,361 miles, or 11,846 kilometers.
Yeah, but isn't, like, Belmonte kind of the same distance from all of us that live here in the United States?
I think you talked about he has to keep his emotions in check, and neither players felt like they've really been ahead. You know, Belmonte had a couple of shots in the first game. He was up 20 pretty quick, but then after that, Sean threw a 6-bagger to get back in the match.
Guys, you both of these players on a regular basis. Jason, you're now watching ball motion for a living. How much the lanes transition when you're following a guy like Jason Belmonte?
Oh my gosh, he could tear up a lane condition pretty quick with his rotation and rev rate.
1 game, 2 games, 3 games?
It's in 1 game.
In match play last week at the Tournament of Champions, if you had to bowl on Belmonte's pair, the second pair, and he got 15 minutes practice on in 1 game, it was just a blind 10 or 12 board move left.
Chris Barnes, what do you see early on in this 3rd and final game?
Well, that was a huge right there, because he did move left off of the misses at the end of the 2nd game, and that one didn't quite make it all the way back. That one made it back through. Jason was on borrowed time.
Missed it. I missed it. Got it right. I need to get it back in front of me to store some energy so it goes through it. I know there's something to throw it at, and I don't need to do that.
I still think this match is going to come down to the 10th frame, and both players are finishing on the lane that they chose.
If he doesn't strike on this ball, in my opinion, on this right lane here in the 3rd frame, I don't think it's coming down to the 10th frame. What do you think, guys? A little iffy, a little shady reaction on that lane thus far?
It's better, but that's the same miss that missed the pocket last game. So it's a better ball change for him, and if he can get away with that hit, the key will be he's still going to throw one at the gutter faster here somewhere.
What's the adjustment? I mean, this is cheetah. You should have friction to the right. Do you go to a stronger ball?
For me, I would move my feet like 2 left and leave my eyes the same and try to get to that spot quicker, but get it there from farther in.
So if he misses farther right, moves in and misses farther right on the right lane, it hooks harder?
It'll hook back farther.
Okay.
But if he misses in with that move, 210.
That's why I thought, what if he goes to a stronger ball? Does that not blend it out?
In a long qualifying situation, absolutely. Here where you got 3 more shots in that lane, there's a limited upside with a lot of risk. I wouldn't do it.
That's a great point. Sean Rash, would you say he's in control even though he's trailing in this game right now?
I don't think Sean's in control. Belmo looked like he actually has made 2 shots in the right lane that have done somewhat of what they want to do, and Sean's too far. That's the one that you can't do on that lane.
I cut one short.
Ah! How many times have we seen this? Sean Rash was keeping it close, and then the opening, or the potential opening after this devastating shot right here where the ball cuts through the face, leaving the 3-4-6-7. His opponent's gone spare 3-bagger. This couldn't happen at a worse time, in my opinion.
It's a big spare right here, and he went to the weaker ball he threw in the fill. He knew somewhat what it did, but He's going to need the rest of them to stay in this match.
Jason?
I think my horse just lost a horseshoe. He needs to rally the troops here right now because you cannot let Belmo get out to a big lead. Good shot.
Is the mindset for Sean Rash now, for me to have any chance of winning, I have to strike out?
Sheet. He knows he has to sheet.
Chris, you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't think that's far off at all, and he has to make a move here, too. He's going to have to completely commit to whatever moves he makes in his next 2 shots.
Oh, my. Oh. Forget about what Sean Rash is thinking. What would you be thinking in this situation, Chris?
You have to regroup. You have to forget about it, as hard as that is to do, because the momentum has completely left you at this point. You've had a couple of bad breaks. You paid the price for your shot. You have to regroup and know that you have to go off the sheet. Get yourself in a spot where you're like the Shocks, the Wichita State Shockers. You got to play a little angry from here on out and get real aggressive.
And how much does this weigh on Sean mentally with all that's on the line, with bragging rights on the line? Forget about the money. How much does that weigh on him, and how much more pressure is then added?
Well, Sean's, he's definitely, he's going to have to worry about whether or not Belmo can strike on this right lane. But Sean right now is thinking, I just let this guy get another win against me, and now it's going to be even harder for me to beat him somewhere down the road when it matters.
And just think that it could possibly come down to 1 shot in 3 games. That's big split in the 4th frame for Sean Rash. Oh, my.
You talk about the difference between what these 2 players have had right now. Sean gets a little light shaker and leaves the 4-pin for the 2nd time. This one does not get to the right. I thought for sure he would throw it right there fast. He didn't. This ball did pick up enough though to save him. And the helicopter bird dog.
Atomic messenger from when I was about 26 years old.
Yeah, I can honestly say I've never thrown a messenger like that.
It was hard to with wooden bowling balls, Randy.
Oh, but he got it.
Hello.
I saw that coming actually.
What is that, Lave?
He got it in the last 2 shots, and they almost 4-pinned. And I got to imagine with Sean catching up to him in the moves on that lane now, that he's going to start seeing his ball do that.
So isn't the adjustment for Belmonte simple? Just move left?
He's got to move left. Surprised he didn't make that as lucky as he's been today.
What is that, Lave?
This actually shows you some of his bowling IQ, though, because the way to say to make is to shoot the 4-pin there. And he actually went for the 2 for the count to try to stay ahead in the match.
Will this split cost Sean Rash the match? We're halfway through game 3, the final game of the PBA Super Clash.
The PBA Super Clash is brought to you by HotelPlanner.com, the best place to book hotel rooms. Best rooms, best rate, guaranteed. By Barbasol. Close shave, America. Close shave, Barbasol. By GEICO, saving people money on more than just car insurance. And by the USBC, the national governing body, servicing the needs of bowling. To learn more, visit us on bowl.com.
And welcome back to the 2014 PBA Super Clash. Sean Rash, Jason Belmonte, the grudge match. The reigning player of the year, then the former player of the year right there, Sean Rash, now trails by 25 pins through 5.5 frames. Remember, it's a 3-game total pin match.
He really fired that one right. Stayed aggressive and fired that one to the
We
right.
used to call that the free willy. You just got a free willy it to the right.
If he strikes here, this is a whole new ball game right here.
This is a good start, too, guys, don't you think? Was that intentional, Barnes? Was that intentional, feeding it that far to
When
the
you
right?
use that much surface, the whole thing is you have right.
All right,
You cannot miss left.
What does he do now? Remember the last time on this lane, almost left a gripper 410 pocket hit. What does he do?
I think he's going to move 1 left and just knock the holes out of it. I think he's really going to catch it, make sure it hooks.
And I think you might hear him tell Belmo about it if he gets it.
How's that one look? What do you think?
Right as always, Tommy Jones. Jason Counts, what do you think about that hit there?
He knew in that spot that he had to strike, and he was lined up. Just got a little unfortunate last shot. This is going to be a great finish.
Watch the pin carry here. Head pin going to the sidewall, and I mean really quick across the lane into the 10 pin. Now what's happening on that right lane with that ball? At first it looked like it was laboring to hook back, then all of a sudden he started to look a little bit more comfortable, and now the last couple shots finished dead flush.
Yeah, that one got right a little bit. He still hasn't thrown one right quick. That one borderline on it. If he gets it there any quicker than that, it's going high. The one that labored just actually got in between. It just never got started up quick enough.
Remember the last time on this left lane he split.
Yeah, this is the couple boards left. That was just a really good shot right there. That's all you can say.
So he makes the move left. What does he do with his target? Does he move his target in with it?
I think that was probably a 1-and-1, or if not a 2, maybe a 2-and-1. And who knows, in these two-handers, they might have moved forward too.
A guy, Belmonte moves. He makes a 1-and-1 move.
These guys out here, you're constantly trying to stay ahead of the transition, and he might be moving 1-and-1 anyways in that frame, even if he didn't go high the last one.
Folks, what we mean by that, what we mean by a 1-and-1 move is the player will move one board left with his feet and one board left with his target. That's what, when you hear the players talk about the adjustments, a 2-and-1, a 3-and-1, it always starts with the feet first and the target second.
Down 15 with 2 frames to go, he has to strike right now if he wants to win this match.
Has to.
Yeah.
I predicted.
Last time he caught a handful of it.
He did. I think with this one, if he does strike here, he'll probably be quiet and just go sit down on the bench and hope he has a chance.
Took a re-rack. Good thing or a bad thing?
I think it was a good thing. He's a high emotion player, and I think he was just trying to calm his emotions right there.
Jason Couch, you're nodding your head yes.
All he's doing right there is controlling his adrenaline and his emotions.
Hardest thing to do in this situation is get everything slowed down. Wes had a hard time with it last week. Took a little extra time.
That's left.
Yeah! Now what? Take that.
The only player we've heard from in this match has been Sean Rash. We talk about who it meant more to. You guys alluded that it probably means more to this guy, and that's pretty obvious. Jason Belmonte, however, can get up 9th and 10th frame and seal the deal. It's a 5-pin match.
That's a good shot. Probably his best shot on the right lane.
And now it's a 15-pin match. Remember the lead that he had going in. He had a 3-pin lead. Boy, did he send that one.
That was a good one. That's a move left off the last shot and then went ahead and got it to that spot.
Strike and seal the deal. That's the way things have been going for Jason Belmonte. Not only is he bowling great, but he's catching every off hit. And I remember those days. Those were some pretty good days.
You know, I talked about his carry percentage. I mean, you know, I never threw pins around like this. My rev rate's about half of what Jason Belmonte's is. And again, I think it's a lethal combination when you have that much speed, that much power hitting the pins. Pocket just becomes huge.
6 spare here is all he needs to shut him out. That's plenty.
He needs a spare to shut out the game, but that shuts out totals.
Yep. And for these two bowlers, it was all about totals. It was all about who could win 3 games.
Absolutely. Spare to win the game. That would be 2 games to 1, but most importantly, the match is over.
A little ironic that Belmo went to the water bottle, but maybe that's what got us here.
Yeah, it's kind of what started this. What most people remember, anyway.
Great job, Rusty. Great job. Thanks for your help.
Don't leave the beast hanging. Wes Malott, runner-up to Jason Belmonte last week at the Tournament of Champions. Hey, I don't know if it's an omen or not. It's Super Bowl Sunday. It's been a super Sunday for Jason Belmonte. Boy, he had everything going right for him. He made the change. He made the ball change. He had a lot of things go his way.
Sometimes it takes a little bit of both. And when you get it going your way, you have to take advantage. And he did do that.
Without question.
I think a lot of times you create your own luck. And, you know, and the pins know when it's leaving your hand the right way and you're not pinching it, the pins behave properly.
You do, and he's got one of the best ball reps of all time down there, Dale Ballard, helping make that ball change on the right lane. A couple years ago, Jason might not have made that ball change on the right lane. He might have stayed with the other one, and who knows what the outcome would have been.
Well, a gutsy performance by Sean Rash. He's going to fall just a little bit short, 25 pin difference. You got to go back to that fourth frame.
Yeah. The 6-2 there and the 6-2 there in the fourth. You're absolutely right, Randy. That was the backbreaker for him.
And it wasn't like he missed a move. It was a bad shot.
All right, guys, let's send it down to Kimberly Pressler with Sean Rash and Jason Belmonte.
Sean, that was a tough loss for you. This one is personal. What's running through your mind right now?
Look, I bowled a very good game, a great 3-game set. I made one mistake. You can't make mistakes against great players, and Jason's a great player just like the rest of our tour, and you know, he took full advantage of the opportunity. It was a great match. We're going to be doing this for many years, and I'm hopeful that, and I'm thinking he's the same way, that we're 50-50 when it's over.
Are you looking forward to a rematch?
Absolutely. Jason and I have bowled each other plenty of times around the world. Like I said, we're going to do it we're both 30, 31 years old. We're going to be around for a while, and you know, I just want to thank the PBA, all of our sponsors, and the legends, Walter and Pete, for giving us something to strive for.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jason, you come away with this victorious. How does this feel for you?
Well, yeah, it feels good, obviously, always to win, and you know, it was highly entertaining. I mean, I felt it out there. I know he felt it out there. Our friends and fans all felt it out there, and you know, bowling is just like any other sport out there. We do have rivalries. Some are more heated than others. And obviously, Sean and I, we're going to be at each other till we all quit. So.
Do you think this gives you a leg up for the next time you and Sean bowl together?
I don't think so, because, you know, bowling is one of those games that it doesn't matter what you've done in the past. It matters what happens on that day. I've had a really good record against him, but at the same time, tomorrow, he can knock him over and I don't, so it's a funny game, this game. You just take the wins when you get them and you try and add to them.
Congratulations on your win today.
Well, guys, a lot of this is riding that wave of momentum. Right now, Jason Belmonte's got it going on. His victory last week of the Tournament of Champions, and now this. Put your final thoughts on this, guys. Give us your opinions on what you saw, and do you think it turned out the way you thought it would?
Well, obviously, I picked Sean to win. It didn't go the way I thought it would, but I could, you know, you can't knock either one of them. Jason's bowling arguably the best. He just won the Tournament of Champions last week, and he's making really good decisions. And then if you give him a chance, he's just stepping on your throat and just putting you away.
Why did it go Jason Belmonte's way tonight?
Jason got a break, you know, a couple breaks early in the second match, and then Sean made the one bad shot on his lane. And if you make a bad shot on the lane that you get a choice on, it normally doesn't work out very good for you on the PBA Tour.
All right, Tommy, thanks. Jason?
Well, you know what? I picked Sean as well. I thought they both performed well when they needed to. The one errant shot in the middle of the match, the third game, really changed things around for Sean. I think that kind of let the air out of the balloon, if you will. And you know what? They both bowled great today, and I guess I got to be wrong once in a while.
Chris?
Well, I think actually the mistakes early in games 1 and 3 for Sean, really turned things around. He was always chasing. It's a hard thing to do when you're bowling the guy who's the hottest on tour. And so no matter how many good shots he made, he was never, ever ahead in the match.
Chris, and the most important thing, really the only thing that matters, is that you and I were correct in our predictions. Guys, I want to thank you so much for being a part of this. It was great working with you and great listening to your expert analysis and your insight. It was just an incredible opportunity. Thank you so much for being with us. Let's send it down to Mike J. Laneside. Mike?
Coming up next, the CP3 PBA rematch. So look back at 5 years of NBA star Chris Paul's celebrity bowling event. Lots of great moments there, so stay tuned. The very first PBA Super Clash featured the two best players on the planet, Sean Rash and Jason Belmonte. And when the dust settled, it is the reigning Player of the Year Belmonte who walks away victorious. For Randy Peterson and our expert panelists, along with Kimberly Pressler, this is Mike Jakubowski wishing you a great Super Bowl Sunday. Stay tuned next for the CP3 PBA Remix.